Captain Lisa Summers stood frozen on the bridge of the EDS horizon. Her eyes were fixed on the main screen where an alien ship hung against the backdrop of stars. The vessel was massive, at least 5 times the size of her ship. Its strange shape reminded her of a giant sea creature, with curved sections that glowed with blue-green light. Nothing in human history had prepared them for this moment. "How long has it been there?" Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack Rivera, her second-in-command, checked his screen. "Our sensors picked it up 30 minutes ago, Captain. It just appeared at the edge of our solar system. No warning." Lisa took a deep breath. 6 years as captain of Earth's flagship had trained her to stay calm in crisis. But this was different. This was first contact. "Any signals?" she asked. Alan West, the communications officer, shook his head. "Nothing yet, Captain. But our systems confirm it's definitely not human-made. The energy readings are off the charts." The bridge fell silent. 20 crew members, the best Earth had to offer, stared at their stations. Some typed commands frantically. Others seemed too shocked to move. "Alert Earth Defense Command," Lisa ordered. "And get me a direct line to Secretary General Reyes. The world needs to know we're not alone anymore." Before Alan could relay the message, his console lit up with incoming signals. "Captain, they're hailing us." His voice cracked with excitement and fear. "The computer is already working to translate." Lisa straightened her uniform jacket. "Put it on screen." The image of space disappeared, replaced by a being unlike anything she had ever seen. It had iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Multiple thin arms or tentacles moved gracefully around its body. What Lisa guessed was its face contained 3 large, purple eyes arranged in a triangle pattern. No visible mouth, yet somehow it spoke. "Greetings, vessel of Earth," the computer translated. The alien's clicks and whistles converted to English. "I am High Emissary Zorkath of the Galactic Council, governing body of the 17 sentient species of the Orion Arm." Lisa stepped forward. "This is Captain Lisa Summers of the Earth Defense Ship Horizon. On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to our solar system." The alien's skin rippled with colors. Blue, then green, then a flash of yellow. "Your species has been observed for 73 of your years," Zorkath continued. "Your technological advancement from primitive aircraft to space vessels capable of reaching your system's edge has been notable." Jack leaned close to Lisa's ear. "They've been watching us since the 1950s, he whispered. The alien's head tilted slightly. "The Council has deemed humanity worthy of acknowledgement. This is a significant honor. Many developing species are considered too primitive or too violent for contact." Pride and unease battled in Lisa's chest. "We're honored," she said carefully. "Humanity has long wondered if we were alone in the universe." "You are far from alone, Captain Summers. The galaxy teems with life. The Council alone represents over 4 billion sentient beings across 17 species and 312 worlds." The numbers stunned everyone on the bridge. Humanity, with its population of 10 billion, suddenly seemed small. "The Council extends an invitation to Earth to join our Federation of Worlds," Zorkath announced. "This would grant your species protection, access to advanced technologies, and trade routes spanning the Orion Arm." Lisa felt a moment of hope. This was what humanity had dreamed of: peaceful contact, an invitation to join a larger community among the stars. However, the alien continued, its color darkening slightly. "As is customary, all new species must provide tribute to demonstrate their understanding of galactic hierarchy and their commitment to Council laws." "Tribute?" Lisa asked, her hope fading. "Resources, technology, cultural artifacts, offerings that reflect Earth's best qualities and greatest achievements. You have 1 planetary rotation to prepare your response and initial offering. The Council awaits your submission." The screen went black. The alien had ended the transmission as abruptly as it had begun it. Lisa turned to her crew. Their faces showed the same mix of emotions she felt: wonder, fear, suspicion, and confusion. "Get me the Secretary General," she ordered Allen, "and tell Earth Defense Command to put all ships on alert status. Not aggressive posture, but ready." "Do you think they're a threat, Captain?" Jack asked quietly. Lisa looked back at the screen, now showing the alien vessel again. "I don't know. But I don't like anyone's first words to include tribute and submission." As the Horizon's engines hummed beneath her feet, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's greatest test had just begun. Secretary General Maria Reyes had never seen the United Nations General Assembly fill up so quickly. Within 6 hours of Captain Summers' message, representatives from all 196 nations had gathered in New York. The usual formalities were skipped. No one cared about proper introductions or seating arrangements today. Humanity had just met aliens. Maria stepped up to the podium, her dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, her face showing the strain of the past few hours. Behind her, massive screens displayed images of the alien ship taken from the EDS Horizon. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Today marks the most significant moment in human history. We are not alone in the universe." A murmur ran through the crowd. Some representatives looked excited, others terrified. Captain Summers of the EDS Horizon made first contact with a representative of what calls itself the Galactic Council. "The full recording of this encounter has been shared with all of you." She paused as the screens changed to show the alien being Zorkaf. Several people gasped, seeing an actual alien, not in science fiction, but in reality, was overwhelming. "The Council has invited Earth to join their federation," Maria continued. "However, this invitation comes with a condition. They demand tribute." The word hung in the air. Tribute, an old concept that carried the weight of history, of empires demanding payment from weaker nations, of subjugation and inequality. Dr. Henry Bradley approached the podium when Maria gestured to him. A tall man with graying hair and glasses, he was Earth's leading expert in languages and communication theory. "The translation is accurate," Henry said. "I've analyzed the alien language patterns. When they say tribute, they mean an offering that demonstrates our acceptance of their authority. In human terms, they're asking us to acknowledge them as our superiors." The Japanese representative, a woman in her 60s named Yuki Tanaka, stood up. "What exactly do they want from us?" Henry adjusted his glasses. "Based on communications we've intercepted between their main vessel and smaller ships in their fleet, they typically demand natural resources, technology, and cultural artifacts. Sometimes all three." "Resources?" the Brazilian representative asked. "Like what? Water? Minerals?" "Possibly," Henry replied. "But also possibly biological samples. Plants, animals, humans." The room erupted in angry shouts. Maria raised her hands for quiet. "We don't know their intentions yet, but we need to decide how Earth responds. Do we comply? Do we negotiate? Or do we refuse?" Defense Secretary Paul Green stepped forward, a former general with a shaved head and stern expression. He commanded attention without effort. "Our military analysis suggests their technology is far beyond ours," he said bluntly. "Their ship appeared at the edge of our solar system without warning. Our fastest vessels would take months to reach that position. They did it instantly." He pressed a button, and the screen showed a tactical display. "If they decided to use force." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. A heavy silence fell over the room. Dr. Susan Miller rushed into the assembly hall, her lab coat still on. She was the head of Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Program. Her face was pale as she handed a tablet to Maria, whispering urgently in her ear. Maria's expression darkened as she read the information. She looked up at the gathered representatives. "Dr. Miller has just informed me that our deep space monitoring stations have detected multiple other vessels taking position throughout our solar system." She turned the tablet so everyone could see the display. Red dots appeared near Mars, Jupiter, and in the asteroid belt. They're not just waiting for an answer, Susan added, her voice carrying in the silent room. They're surrounding us, taking strategic positions. So it's not an invitation, said the Russian representative. It's an ultimatum. Paul nodded grimly. That's how I read it. They're preparing for our response, and they're ready if they don't like what we say. Maria returned to the podium. We have less than 18 hours to decide. I suggest we break into regional groups to discuss our options. We need a unified human response. As the assembly disbanded into smaller meetings, Maria walked over to a window overlooking New York City. People below went about their day, unaware that aliens had surrounded their planet, unaware that the next few hours might change human history forever. What do we do? Susan asked, joining her at the window. Maria watched the sunset paint the city in golden light. We do what humans have always done when faced with impossible choices. We find another option. While world leaders debated in New York, ordinary people across Earth reacted to the news of alien contact. Governments had decided to share the truth immediately. Hiding it would be impossible anyway. Satellite images of the alien ships filled every screen on the planet. In Chicago, crowds gathered in Millennium Park, some holding signs that read "Welcome Aliens," while others protested with Earth First banners. In Mumbai, thousands of people prayed in temples, mosques, and churches. In Rio de Janeiro, people danced in the streets, celebrating what some called humanity's graduation day. Fear, hope, excitement, and dread mixed together as Earth faced its new reality. Far from these public displays, in a small research facility buried in the mountains of Colorado, a different kind of meeting took place. The room was simple: white walls, no windows, a large table in the center. Around it sat 12 people, scientists, military officers, and intelligence analysts who had been studying the possibility of alien life for decades. Kelly Wong, a young astrophysicist with short black hair and intense eyes, stood at the front of the room. She pointed to a star chart displayed on the wall. We've been tracking unusual energy signatures for years, she explained. We thought they might be natural phenomena. Now we know they were the Galactic Council. She touched a control pad, and red lines appeared on the chart, connecting different star systems. Based on their propulsion signatures, we've traced their path. They visited at least 6 other star systems with habitable planets in the last decade. Colonel Nathan Foster, a tall man with a serious face and graying hair at his temples, leaned forward. And what happened to those planets? Kelly's expression darkened. That's the concerning part. We've been monitoring these systems with our long-range telescopes. 3 of them now show clear signs of mining operations on a massive scale. They've been stripped of resources. And the other 3? Asked a woman from the intelligence agency. They no longer show signs of advanced technology. No artificial lights on the night side, no radio signals, no space activity. They've been reduced to pre-industrial states. Colonel Foster's jaw tightened. So it's not an invitation. It's a shakedown. Or conquest disguised as diplomacy, added Dr. Ray Patel, a xenobiologist. They identify developed worlds, demand submission through this tribute system, and then either exploit them or eliminate their technology if they resist. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., President Eric Daniels met with a smaller group in the White House Situation Room. Unlike the UN meeting with its political posturing, this gathering focused on human history. Throughout our past, what happens when an advanced civilization demands tribute from a less developed one? Eric asked the group. Olivia Garrett, a historian with frizzy gray hair and kind eyes, replied grimly. The pattern is clear, Mr. President. Today's tribute becomes tomorrow's subjugation. She opened an old book on the table. From the Roman Empire to colonial powers, from ancient China to medieval Europe, once you establish yourself as a tributary state, you've acknowledged your inferiority. The demands never decrease. They escalate. The Romans would demand sons of conquered rulers as hostages, added another historian. Insurance against rebellion. The Spanish demanded gold from native populations in the Americas, said a third. When they ran out of gold to give, they were enslaved. Eric nodded slowly, his fingers tapping thoughtfully on the table. So history suggests that agreeing to their terms is a path to exploitation. Yes, Olivia confirmed, but refusing has historically led to conflict. The president stood and walked to a window overlooking the Washington Monument. What if there's a third option? Something beyond simple compliance or defiance. Back in New York, as the UN debate continued, Captain Lisa Summers and her crew had been called in to provide their first-hand account of the alien encounter. There was something in their tone. Lisa explained to the Security Council. They weren't asking. They were telling. Like our acceptance was already assumed. Did you sense any hostility? Maria Rise asked. Not hostility, Lisa said carefully. More like indifference. Like we were something small they could easily brush aside if needed. As the deadline approached, a strange thing happened. Without formal agreement, without a global vote, a consensus began to emerge. It started on social media, spread through news channels, appeared in hastily organized polls, and echoed in discussions from farmhouses to university halls. Humanity was reaching a decision, not through its leaders, but through its collective voice, and that voice was finding its strength. As the final hours ticked away, something remarkable happened across Earth. From small towns to major cities, from online forums to government halls, people began sharing the same message. We don't submit to demands. The United Nations session had run all night. Arguments had flared between nations about what resources could be sacrificed, what technologies might be shared, what artifacts would represent humanity best. But by morning, news of what the research team in Colorado had discovered spread through government channels. The Council's pattern of exploitation could no longer be ignored. Secretary General Maria Rise called for order as she took the podium one final time. Dark circles under her eyes showed her exhaustion, but her voice remained strong. We have 3 hours left to respond to the Galactic Council, she announced. Our scientists have confirmed that other civilizations who provided tribute eventually lost their independence or worse. We face a critical choice that will shape human history forever. She looked across the tired faces of Earth's representatives. I propose that humanity stands together. Not in aggression, not in fear, but in dignity. We will not offer tribute. A murmur ran through the assembly. Some nodded in agreement, others looked terrified. The Chinese representative stood. If we refuse, they might attack. We've seen their ships positioning throughout our system. Yes, Maria acknowledged. But if we submit, we begin a path toward becoming their servants or their resource depot. Either way, the Earth we know ends. President Eric Daniels, who had flown an overnight from Washington, approached the microphone. History has taught us that freedom once surrendered is hard to regain. I believe we must take this stand, whatever the risk. One by one, representatives rose to speak. Some voiced concerns, others offered support. But as the debate continued, messages poured in from citizens around the world. People had been listening to the broadcast. The public had made up its mind. We need more time, the Brazilian representative urged. We need to negotiate better terms. There is no negotiation, Captain Lisa Summers said, stepping forward. She hadn't slept in 2 days, but her uniform was crisp, her posture straight. I was there. I looked into their eyes, or whatever they used to see. They expect compliance, not conversation. In the end, the vote wasn't close. Earth would refuse the demand for tribute. 2 hours later, Captain Summers stood on the bridge of the EDS Horizon once more. Behind her stood Maria Rise, President Daniels, and representatives from the world's largest nations. They had chosen to deliver Earth's answer from space, from humanity's most advanced vessel, a symbol of how far they had come on their own. The main screen flickered to life, showing the alien high emissary. Its skin rippled with colors as it recognized the humans. Your time has elapsed, Zorkath stated. The council awaits your tribute offering. Lisa stepped forward, aware that this moment would be remembered for generations, if humans had generations left. High Emissary Zorkath, she began, her voice steady. I speak on behalf of Earth and all humanity. We have considered your request for tribute. The aliens' appendages moved in what humans had learned was a gesture of anticipation. The council awaits your offering. Lisa stood straighter, her eyes fixed on the alien. Our response is no. Silence filled the transmission. The alien's color shifted rapidly from blue to purple to a deep red. Perhaps your translation technology is faulty. Zorkath finally responded, its tone harder. The council does not request tribute. We require it. Our translation is accurate, Lisa replied. Our answer stands. No. Earth will not provide tribute. The alien's body tensed visibly. You misunderstand your position. This is not a negotiation. Those who refuse tribute are deemed unworthy of galactic citizenship. We understand perfectly, Lisa said. Humanity does not recognize any authority that demands tribute before extending rights. We are willing to engage as equals, to trade, to share knowledge, but not to submit. Behind her, Earth's leaders stood firm, their faces showing a mix of fear and pride. This response is unexpected, Zorkath said slowly. No species has refused in over 3,000 cycles. Then perhaps it's time someone did, Lisa replied. The transmission ended abruptly. On the bridge of the horizon, humans looked at each other in tense silence. They had given their answer. Now they would face whatever came next. The alien ships moved with frightening speed. Within 30 minutes of Earth's refusal, the vessels that had been hovering at the edges of the solar system began advancing toward Earth. Military bases around the world reported the movements, tracking the alien fleet as it passed Mars. In the United Nations emergency bunker deep beneath New York, Maria Reyes received the reports with a grim face. World leaders had gathered in this secure location, preparing for the worst. They're moving into attack positions, Defense Secretary Paul Green announced, pointing to a large screen showing red dots approaching Earth. Satellites confirm at least 12 vessels, all larger than anything we've ever built. Our defensive systems are ready, General Frank Wilson added. Every missile, every fighter jet, every satellite weapon is on high alert. But honestly, we don't know if they'll make any difference against their technology. The room fell silent. These men and women had made their decision to stand against the Council's demands. Now they would face the consequences. What about Project Omega? Maria asked quietly. Paul's expression changed. He glanced around the room, then nodded. Dr. Miller reports it's operational. Untested, but operational. It's time, Maria decided. Activate Protocol Omega. President Eric Daniels stepped forward. Are we sure about this? We're revealing our biggest secret. If not now, when? Maria replied. If they destroy us, there won't be another chance. Eric nodded slowly. Do it. Paul picked up a secure phone and spoke a series of code words. Throughout the room, people held their breath. Up in space, Captain Lisa Summers and her crew watched as the alien fleet approached. The EDS Horizon was just one ship against many, but they held their position bravely. Captain, Jack Rivera said, his voice tense. The lead alien ship is charging weapons. Lisa gripped her chair. This was it. Humanity's defiance would be met with force. All crew to battle stations. Shields at maximum. They're targeting something on Earth, the tactical officer reported. Energy readings indicate they're aiming at the North American continent, possibly military installations in Nevada. Lisa closed her eyes briefly. Her family lived in Nevada. Prepare countermeasures, she ordered, knowing they might be useless. On the main screen, they watched as the alien flagship fired. A beam of intense blue energy shot toward Earth. Everyone on the bridge tensed, waiting for reports of destruction. But the reports never came. Instead, the tactical officer looked up in shock. Captain, the energy beam. It's being blocked. By what? Lisa demanded. Unknown technology. It appears to be some kind of shield surrounding Earth. It's stopping their attack completely. Across Earth, hidden installations had suddenly activated. For decades, in secret bunkers and underground labs, humanity's greatest scientific minds have been working on technology that most people didn't know existed. Physics principles that were kept classified, defensive systems built quietly between nations that normally competed with each other. In the Colorado Research Facility, Kelly Wong watched as systems came online around the world. The SHIELD network is active, she reported to Colonel Foster. All nodes functioning at optimal levels. The colonel smiled for the first time in days. Now let's show them what else we've been working on. Back on the EDS horizon, Lisa received a secure transmission from Earth. Captain Summers, you are authorized to activate Defense Protocol Alpha. Authentication code, Thunderbird. Lisa nodded to her weapons officer. Activate Alpha Protocol. The ship hummed as hidden systems came online. Panels opened on the hull, revealing weapons systems that hadn't been there before, or rather, had always been there but carefully concealed. Open a channel to the alien flagship, Lisa ordered. When the alien appeared on screen, its appendages were rigid with what humans had learned to recognize as shock. What technology is this? Zor Kath demanded. Our scans detected nothing of this advancement. We've learned to keep certain developments private, Lisa explained. Humanity has a long history of encountering others who confuse technological superiority with moral authority. We've learned to prepare accordingly. The Council will not tolerate. Lisa interrupted. We're transmitting data to your vessels now. It's an analysis of your fleet's vulnerabilities, which our systems identified during your approach. We've also included the specifications of defensive measures we've activated around our planet. The alien's color shifted rapidly as it received the information. As you can see, Lisa continued, attacking Earth would be costly for your fleet. Very costly. Through the view screen, she saw the alien commander looking at data displays with movements that suggested alarm. Perhaps, Lisa suggested, it's time for a real conversation. For 12 tense hours, the alien fleet remained in position around Earth. No more attacks came, but they didn't retreat either. On the EDS horizon, Lisa Summers and her crew maintained their vigilance, ready for any sign of aggression. In the emergency bunker, world leaders watched the standoff with a mixture of relief and anxiety. Their gamble had worked. So far, Earth's hidden defenses had surprised the Galactic Council. But what would happen next? We're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship, Alan West announced on the Horizon's bridge. They want to speak with our leadership. Lisa nodded. Put it through to the bunker as well. On screens around the world, Zor Kath appeared again. The alien skin had settled into a steady blue color, which the human's translation software suggested indicated a formal, neutral stance. The Council has reviewed your defensive capabilities, Zor Kath stated. Your technology exceeds our initial assessment. However, make no mistake, the Council's full military might would eventually overcome your defenses. In the bunker, Maria had exchanged glances with President Daniels. The threat was clear, but so was the fact that the aliens weren't rushing to prove it. We have no desire for conflict, Maria replied. As we said, we're open to fair relationships, just not submission. The aliens' appendages waved in what might have been frustration. Your species is young. You do not understand galactic politics. The tribute system has maintained peace for thousands of years. Perhaps, Lisa said from the horizon, your system needs updating. Zor Kath's color darkened. Your defiance is noted. You have 24 hours to reconsider your position before the Council takes action. The transmission ended. In the Colorado facility, Kelly Wong rushed into Colonel Foster's office, her face flushed with excitement. Sir, we've cracked their communication encryption. We can access their internal messages now. Show me, Foster ordered, following her to the main lab. On a large screen, alien text scrolled with human translations appearing beneath. The messages revealed a heated debate among the Council ships. Some commanders argued for immediate full-scale attack. Others cautioned restraint. "They're divided," Kelly explained. "And look at this." She pointed to one particular message. It read, "The human deception raises concerns about our intelligence failures. If their technological level has been misjudged, what else have we missed? Council Protocol 471 may apply." "What's Protocol 471? Foster asked. Kelly grinned. "We don't know yet, but they're clearly rattled." Back in the bunker, Dr. Henry Bradley had been analyzing the alien language patterns from all communications. He requested an urgent meeting with world leaders. "They keep referring to tribute and submission," he explained. "But I've noticed something. When they talk among themselves, they use a different word, one that translates roughly as resource access or harvest rights." Maria leaned forward. "What are you saying?" "The tribute was never symbolic," Henry said. "It was a test to see what we value most, to identify our best resources. Previous species showed them exactly what to take." President Daniels stood up. "So when we said no, we didn't just reject their authority. We rejected being harvested," Henry finished. Maria turned to Paul Green. "How quickly can we get this information to all our ships?" "Minutes," he replied. "Do it. And tell Captain Summers I want to speak with her immediately." On the horizon, Lisa received the new intelligence with growing anger. The Council hadn't been inviting Earth to join a galactic community. They'd been sizing them up for exploitation. "Open a channel to the alien flagship," she ordered. "It's time we made our position completely clear." When Zorkath appeared on screen, Lisa didn't wait for the alien to speak first. "High Emissary, we've decoded your internal communications," she said bluntly. "We know what tribute really means to the Council." The alien's skin flashed yellow, surprise. "Your deception ends now," Lisa continued. "We're transmitting a message to every ship in your fleet and to your Council directly. It contains detailed scans of your vessel's weaknesses and evidence of your exploitation of other worlds." She leaned closer to the screen. "This was never about your tribute. Our real answer wasn't just no. It was the principle behind that word, that genuine cooperation cannot begin with deception or submission." The alien's colors shifted rapidly. "You do not understand the forces you are challenging." "Perhaps not," Lisa agreed. "But we understand ourselves. And humans don't take well to being harvested." 3 days passed after Captain Summers' confrontation with Zorkath. The alien fleet had pulled back to the edge of the solar system, but hadn't left. Earth remained on high alert, the planetary shield still humming with energy, ready to repel another attack. Then, unexpectedly, a new ship appeared. Unlike the military vessels with their threatening shapes, this ship was smaller, with elegant lines and a silver-blue glow. It approached Earth alone, broadcasting a message of peace in multiple human languages. In a conference room at the United Nations building, now restored to use after the emergency had eased, Ambassador Karen Hayes led the human delegation. A veteran diplomat with calm eyes and silver-streaked brown hair, she had been chosen to represent Earth in this critical meeting. Across the table sat Council Representative Sel Mora, a being with a more humanoid appearance than Zorkath. It had 2 arms, 2 legs, and a face with features that humans could recognize as eyes and a mouth. Its skin was pale green with patterns of darker green that shifted slightly as it moved. "The Council has existed for 10,000 years," Sel Mora explained, its voice softer and more musical than Zorkath's harsh tones. "In that time, we've encountered over 300 sentient species." Karen nodded politely. "And how many of them are still free and independent?" The alien's patterns rippled. A sign of discomfort. "Most join willingly, grateful for protection and access to advanced technology. In exchange for tribute," Karen noted. "In exchange for acknowledging the established order," the alien corrected. "What you must understand is that most species we encounter are warlike, resource-depleting, and require Guidance. And those who refuse this guidance? Karen asked carefully. Zelmora hesitated, its skin patterns moving more rapidly. They typically lack the capacity to defend their decision. Karen leaned forward. The tribute demand is a test. A very effective one. Historically, the alien admitted. It quickly identifies civilizations that will cause problems within the council structure. And now, Karen asked, where does that leave Earth? Now we find ourselves in an unprecedented situation. Zelmora looked genuinely puzzled. Your technology suggests you've been capable of interstellar travel for centuries, yet you've barely ventured beyond your solar system. You have weapons that could have conquered neighboring star systems, yet you've focused on defense. You're an anomaly. We're not an anomaly, Karen replied with a small smile. We're just human. We've made enough mistakes in our history to learn that technological power doesn't equal wisdom. We explore slowly because we understand the responsibility that comes with our capabilities. She opened a folder and pushed photos across the table, images of Earth's natural beauty, its diverse people, its cities and farms. We've fought our own wars, Zelmora. We've exploited our own resources. We've nearly destroyed ourselves more than once, but we've learned from those mistakes. The aliens studied the images silently. Your high emissary saw us as primitive because we haven't spread across the stars, Karen continued. But we've been focusing on growing in other ways, building a society where different cultures can live together, healing our planet, understanding our place in the universe. Zelmora's skin patterns settled into a calmer rhythm. The Council has reviewed the data your Captain Summers sent. The evidence of our practices with other worlds is concerning. It has prompted much debate. Good, Karen said simply. Debate is healthy. The Council officially withdraws its demand for tribute. Zelmora announced. Instead, we extend an invitation, as equals, to discuss Earth's potential membership. Murmurs ran through the human delegation. This was more than they had hoped for. Karen smiled. We accept the invitation to discuss. Our answer regarding membership will depend entirely on the terms. As the meeting concluded, Zelmora made a final observation. Your species communicated more in that single word of refusal than most do in formal declarations. Perhaps humans have much to teach the Council after all. Outside the United Nations, people gathered in celebration. News channels showed similar scenes around the world. In Beijing, in Cairo, in Sydney, in Rio. Humanity had passed a crucial test, not just of their technology, but of their principles. In orbit, the EDS Horizon prepared for its next mission. Captain Lisa Summers stood at the view screen, watching Earth turn below. Setting course, Captain, Jack asked. Lisa nodded. Yes, but this time, let's invite our new acquaintances along. I think it's time we showed the galaxy what humans are really about. As the stars beckoned, humanity stood ready to meet them, not as conquerors or subjects, but as partners, bringing their uniquely human perspective to the cosmic conversation.